The corridor was cold, colder than space outside. Artificial snow fell slowly from broken ceiling vents above Dock Line 7 of the Varix 9 space station. People walked past, wrapped in thick coats, boots stomping the metal floors, not looking. Down, no one stopped. No one cared. She stood there, shaking, half covered in rags and bruises. Her skin was pale violet, cracked in places. Her hair was tangled and wet. In her arms, a child small, silent and barely breathing. His cheeks were hollow. His lips were blue. She wasn't old, maybe 20, but her eyes looked ancient, full of fear and pain. She didn't scream, she didn't chase people. She just stood still, holding her baby, and whispered one line to every person who walked by, "Take my life, just feed my son," over and over. "Take my life, just feed my son." But nobody looked at her. The aliens walking by covered their faces, turned their heads, or moved faster. She was invisible to them. Just another lost body, another beggar in the slums of a forgotten station. Her knees began to shake. Her breath came out in short clouds. Her child stirred, coughed weakly, then stopped moving again. Her vision blurred. She fell to her knees, still holding him close, and pressed her face against his chest. She was dying, and she didn't care. Only he could live. A mechanical voice echoed above. It's unauthorized loitering in Dock Line 7. Please relocate to approved shelter areas. Warning 1 of 3. She didn't move. Her lips were cracked. Her hands were frozen. The last thing she saw clearly was a pair of heavy boots stopping near her. Not alien boots, human boots. She looked up, blinking through snow and blur. A man stood there. Not rich looking, a bit rugged, medium height. Jacket covered in frost, a worker. He looked like he belonged to the station crew, but his eyes, they were different. He saw her. He truly saw her. She looked down quickly, ashamed. Maybe he would hit her. Maybe he would report her. Maybe he would take the baby and leave her to rot. She whispered, barely a breath, "Take my life, please. Just feed my son." The man crouched slowly. "What's his name?" She didn't speak. Her lips trembled. The man opened his bag, pulled out a heating packet and a nutrient tube, and gently slid it between the baby's lips. The child weakly sucked, then coughed, but it was a wet cough. "Alive. You haven't eaten in days," the man said. Still, she didn't answer. Her body shook harder now, not just from cold, but from confusion. No one had stopped before. No one had ever helped. He took off his coat and wrapped it around her and the child. Then, slowly, carefully, he helped her stand. She tried to resist weakly. "Why?" she asked, voice cracking. "You're freezing," he replied, "and he's just a kid. That's all I need to know." A tear ran down her cheek. It froze before it could fall. They walked slowly through the docking corridors. The station lights flickered. The crowd still ignored them. One cared about a human and a dying alien girl wrapped in his coat. He brought her into a small cargo room, not fancy, but warm. He placed her on a blanket and handed her a steaming drink. She held it like it was treasure. The baby now slept, warm against her chest. He didn't ask questions. He just sat nearby, watching her breathe, making sure she didn't fall asleep too fast. Finally, she spoke. "Why did you help me?" Shrugged, "Because I could." She stared at him. That answer didn't make sense to her. "But I'm no one. A slave. Less than that. I don't even have a name anymore." The man stood, walked to a locker, pulled out a medical scanner, and scanned the baby. "He's malnourished, but strong," he said. "If he gets food, he'll live." He scanned her too. Her heart was weak. Her hands were frostbitten. Still, she was alive. "My name's Aaron," he said. "I fix broken things." He looked at her again. "You're not broken." She didn't know what to say. Her lips parted, but no words came. Then beep. The room lights flickered red. Aaron turned to his screen. A warning appeared. "Incoming security alert. Asset ID number 1142, located in Sector C7. Status stolen property bounty ACTIV. The The woman's eyes widened. That was her ID. Someone had found her. Aaron stood slowly, eyes narrowing as the alert blinked. Someone's coming, he said quietly. She clutched her child tight. I'll take him. They'll take me. Aaron looked at the door, then back at her, and locked the door. The emergency light blinked red above the door. It's a small cargo room filled with a quiet alarm, sound soft but steady, like a slow heartbeat getting louder. Aaron stood still, watching the screen. The alien woman, now wrapped in his coat, sat curled on the floor, her baby sleeping against her chest. She was no longer just cold or hungry. She was being hunted. Aaron turned away from the screen. He moved quickly but didn't panic. He pulled down a steel crate and began sliding panels around the small room, turning it into a tighter, hidden space. Come, he said gently. Hide in here. It's insulated. Quiet. They won't see you. The woman stared at him. Her body refused to move. They find you helping me, I'll deal with it. Aaron cut in. Right now he needs food. She hesitated, then nodded. Carefully, she climbed inside the small space, clutching her child like he was her last breath. Aaron slid the panel closed, leaving just a small gap for air. He turned off the lights. The room fell into near darkness. Only the flicker of red emergency glow remained. He sat by the door, waiting. 5 minutes passed. Then footsteps, heavy boots outside. Maintenance sector C7, a robotic voice said. We tracked the signal. Open the door. Aaron stood and pressed the come button. This is a storage zone. I'm running system tests. You've got the wrong place. Silence, then we will check. Let's unlock the entrance. Aaron stared at the lock. He knew if they scanned inside, she was finished. He made a decision. Door's jammed, he said. Old wire damage. I'll open it manually. He grabbed a rusted wrench, walked to the door and smashed the control panel. Sparks flew. Behind the hidden crate, the alien woman flinched. Her baby stirred but stayed quiet. Outside, one voice muttered, he broke the lock rate. Another voice, deeper, more dangerous, replied, move on. She won't last long anyway. Footsteps faded. Gone. Aaron waited 1 more minute, then opened the crate. They're gone, he said quietly. The woman stepped out, her legs weak. She looked at Aaron like he had just pushed back a tidal wave. You risked everything, she whispered. For us. Aaron didn't answer, just handed her a warm protein packet and sat beside her as she unwrapped it carefully. The child woke, tiny eyes blinking, lips moving slowly toward the food. The first few drops touched his tongue, and he began to drink. For the first time since she had arrived at the station, she saw life returning to his face. His color changed. His hands twitched. He clutched her fingers as he fed, and she broke. Tears poured from her eyes, warm against her cold skin. She tried to hide her face, but Aaron reached over and gently touched her shoulder. It's okay to cry, he said. She wiped her face. I haven't had a real meal in 10 days, I thought. Thought I'd watch him die in my arms. What's his name? Aaron asked softly. She looked down. I never gave him one. I didn't think he'd live long enough for it to matter. Aaron's jaw clenched. He does now. She stayed quiet, watching her son eat, like it was a miracle. After a while, she finally asked, why did you help me? You could have walked past like the others. Aaron leaned back against the wall. I've seen too many people walk past. Pain, he said. I promised myself, if I ever had the chance to help someone who truly needed it, I wouldn't stay silent. She stared at him, then lowered her voice. You don't even know who I am. He nodded. So tell me. She hesitated. My name used to be Soraya, before the slave brand took it from me. I was sold by my own bloodline. They didn't want a scandalan, unwanted child, from a broken betrothal. I was sent to a labor camp. When they found out I was pregnant, they tried to ... Her voice cracked. She couldn't finish. Aaron didn't push. She looked up at him with new eyes. I didn't think humans cared. The slavers said you were cold, that you only protected your own kind. Aaron met her gaze. They lied. She nodded slowly. Then, her son coughed again. Aaron leaned forward, scanning him with the medical scanner. Numbers flashed. Still weak, but no longer dying. You both need rest, Aaron said. I have a blanket. And we'll keep the heat low so the sensors don't. Trigger again. She looked at the blanket in his hands. And then at him. You don't know me? She whispered again. You don't owe me anything? Aaron gave a half smile. No, but your son didn't ask for this life, and neither did you. He dimmed the lights as she lay down beside her son. She watched Aaron return to the door watchful.com, but then her eyes widened. On his neck, just below his ear, she saw it. A scar, a long, deep burn mark the same kind slavers gave their runaways. He had been one of them too, but he had escaped. And now he was helping others do the same. She closed her eyes. Maybe there was still hope in the stars. Soraya woke to silence, real silence, not the cold, hollow kind in the alleys of the station. This silence was safe. She opened her eyes and saw soft yellow light glowing from a small panel on the wall. The air smelled clean, warm. Her son was breathing gently against her chest, no longer trembling. His tiny fingers curled around her cloth. She touched his face. It was no longer ice. For a moment, she let herself believe they were no longer dying. Then she remembered the scar on Aaron's neck. He had worn it like armor, quiet armor. She hadn't asked, but she knew. That mark wasn't from an accident. That was punishment. Escape. Survival. Maybe. That's why he understood her silence. He knew how chains felt. He knew how chains felt your body. Aaron was sitting on the other side of the room, quietly repairing a broken heating coil with a glowing tool. His fingers worked fast. He looked like a worker, a survivor. But something in his eyes told her he had once lost everything too. She sat up slowly. Her body still hurt, but it was healing now. Her son stirred, then clung to her again. She looked up. What do you plan to do with us? She asked softly. Aaron didn't stop working. Feed you. Let you rest. Then figure out how to keep you safe. You don't want anything in return? She asked. He paused. I want your son to grow up with a name, that's all. You lowered her head. She couldn't remember the last time anyone had spoken to her like that. No trade, no deal, just kindness. You were once a slave too, she said quietly. Aaron didn't look at her. Yeah, long time ago. Wait, did someone help you escape? He nodded. An old human doctor. Taught me how to repair machines. And how to stop thinking. Of myself as a number. And now, you help others. Out. He looked at her. Sometimes, when I can. Soraya held her son tighter. How long before the hunters come back? Aaron stood up and walked to the scanner on the wall. They're still in the sector. They're looking for something. Glanced back at her. We have time, but not much. He walked to a crate, unlocked it, and pulled out a small box. Inside were injectors, nutrient tubes, even a DNA scanner. What's that for? She asked. Aaron looked serious now. Need to check something, it's important. She stiffened. You're going to check if I'm really the one there? Chasing? No, he said, opening the DNA scanner. I'm going to check if your son is registered in any database. If he isn't, it means he has a clean ID. We might be able to protect him, make him legal under station law. Soraya's breath caught. And if he is registered, then we erase it before they find him. She looked at her child, asleep again. The scanner beeped once, then flashed green. No records, Aaron said, almost smiling. He's a ghost. A free ghost. She covered her mouth with both hands. He wasn't marked. He wasn't claimed. He wasn't owned. Tears fell down her cheeks again. This time, they were warm. Aaron placed the scanner down. What do you want to name him? I never thought I'd get to choose. You do now. She looked at the tiny boy in her arms. His skin was a lighter shade than hers. His eyes, when open, had the same spark hers used to have long ago, before the cages. Kale, she said. Finally, it means first light. In my old language, Aaron smiled. Kale, I like that. Just then, the screen on the wall flashed again. Security breach detected Sector C7, maintenance room for ID lock. Trigradrn stood fast. That's this room. Soraya's face went pale. They found us. Rand grabbed a duffel bag and began tossing supplies inside. No, they found me. What do you mean? He turned to her. IDs still flagged in some old records. I've been hiding under a dead name for years. They finally pinged it, pulled out a cloak, and tossed it to her. Put this on, we're leaving now. Soraya wrapped herself in Kale quickly. Her heart raced. But where will we go? Aaron opened a panel behind a crate. A crawl tunnel, small, and dark led into the walls of the station. Into the bones, he said. The old wiring shafts. No cameras, no drones. Only ghosts walk through there. And you. He looked back at her. I've always been a ghost. They entered the tunnel. The panel closed behind them, but just outside. A bounty hunter arrived in the hallway, his visor blinking red. He had a scent trail, and it was fresh. Asterisk. The service tunnels were dark, narrow, and full of echoes. Pipes hissed with heat. The walls sweated with moisture from leaking vents. Aaron moved fast, crouched low, guiding Soraya and Kale through twisting corridors behind the main decks of the station. Soraya held Kale close, trying to keep him from crying. The baby whimpered once, then went quiet, as if even he knew silence meant survival. Aaron stopped at a broken vent shaft. He pressed his ear against the metal. Footsteps, heavy, measured. There above us, he whispered. Soraya's heart pounded. How did they track us? Aaron opened a pouch and pulled out a small round device. Scent beacons, the old kind, not digital. He's got one. They followed our trail from the corridor. He placed the device on the tunnel wall and activated a pulse scrambler. Faint click echoed. That buys us a few minutes, he said. Not much. Soraya looked behind them. The air was getting hotter, tighter. Kale's face was red now. He's too warm, she whispered. Aaron nodded. We'll stop soon. There's a junction hatch ahead of old maintenance chamber.
Oh.
No cameras. They moved again, squeezing through. Narrow gaps, dodging exposed wires and hanging cables. Finally, they reached a rusted doorway. Aaron kicked it open. Inside was a small circular room with a flickering maintenance light. Dust floated in the air. There were no windows, no screens. Aaron shut the door and locked it manually. Soraya collapsed to the floor, cradling Kale, letting him drink from the last nutrient tube. His breathing slowed. His color returned. Aaron paced the room. His mind raced. They'll search every sector, he said. Standard pattern? They'll be here in 10 minutes? Maybe less? Soraya looked up. Why do they want me so badly? I was just a discarded slave. Aaron's face was tight because you escaped. That's enough. Some slavers don't want anyone believing escape is possible. She held Kale closer. What will they do to him? Aaron didn't answer. That was enough of an answer. Just then a beep came from Aaron's wristband. A private signal. His eyes widened. He showed it to Soraya. A coded message. Sector C bounty activity confirmed. 3 hunters. 2 armed. 1 unknown. Do not engage. Track pattern suggests trap. Possible civilian target involved. Aaron narrowed his eyes. They're not just looking. They're planning something. He turned to the hatch. We need a way out. But more than that. ... We need to change the rules. Soraya stood, her voice low. You want to fight now? Aaron said. I want to distract them. Draw them. Away from Kale? No, she said quickly. You'll die. He looked at her calmly. I already died once. I came back as someone better. She stared at him, unsure if she should be terrified or moved. Outside, metal echoed. The hunters were near, footsteps. Then a voice, deep and cold. Sector's empty. Scanners show minor heat, could be a hiding spot. Prepare sweep. Aaron gripped a small metal rod, an old weapon, with a pulse core. It was barely enough to stall 1 hunter. It's not 3. But he had something else. He tapped the floor panel twice. Then again. A secret rhythm click. A false wall slid open just. Wide enough for 1 body? Take him, Aaron said, lifting Cale gently and placing him into Soraya's arms. Go through there. Stay low. Don't stop. Soraya shook her head. No, not without you. You will, he said, 'cause he lives if you do. She clutched Cale close. They'll kill you. Aaron gave a small, tired smile. Maybe. But they won't touch him. A loud bang hit the main hatch. The hunters were here. Aaron pushed Soraya toward the tunnel. She slipped inside just as the wall closed behind her, silent as a breath. She was gone. The hatch blew open. 3 shadows entered. The first hunter stepped forward. He was tall, red-armored, with glowing eyes behind a black mask. A blade hung at his waist. Where is the alien girl? He asked. Aaron stood alone, holding the rod, standing in the dust and dim light. Gone, said simply. The second hunter aimed a weapon at his chest. Lying isn't smart. Aaron raised the rod. I don't need to lie, he said. I just need you looking at me instead of her. The lead hunter narrowed his eyes. You're stalling. Aaron smiled. Yep. He slammed the rod into the floor. A blinding flash burst from the ground. Dash white, dash hot. The room exploded in light, and Aaron vanished into smoke and fire. Smoke filled the room. The hunters cursed, their visors scrambling from the flash pulse. The walls crackled, sparks flying from broken light wires. Aaron's silhouette blurred through the haze as he rolled behind an old metal console, breathing fast. One of the bounty hunters fired blindly, pulse blasts slamming into the walls, missing by inches. He's still here? Shouted the red-armored leader. I want him alive, no mistakes. Another pulse shot tore through the smoke, grazing Aaron's arm. He bit back a grunt and pressed a button on his belt. Got. A small spark clicked, but the decoy beacon didn't. Activate. Cheap junk, he muttered. Aaron knew he didn't have long. He wasn't trained for war. He wasn't a soldier, but he knew sacrifice. He had nothing left to lose, except Soraya and Cale, and he wasn't losing them. Elsewhere in the station's hidden vents, Soraya crawled forward, her back scraping against the low ceiling, Cale wrapped tightly against her chest. Her hands were shaking not from fear, but from hope. Strange, dangerous hope. Aaron had stayed behind. For them, she should have screamed, should have forced him to run too. But deep down, she knew, ... He had already decided. And the only thing she could do now was survive. She whispered softly into Cale's ear, You will live, even if we don't. She kept crawling. Back in the chamber, Aaron used the console to deflect another blast. It exploded against the metal, sending shards flying. His lip bled. He wiped it with the back of his hand and smiled bitterly. He pulled something from his boot. A small organoelitary grade. Illegal, powerful. He hadn't planned to use it. But now, it would be enough to cave in the floor and trap them all. He rolled it behind the hunters. One of them heard it bounce. What was boom? The floor cracked. One side of the room collapsed into fire and steel. 2 of the hunters were thrown back. One screaming as he fell into the lower shaft. But the leader, the red-armored one, was still standing, and now he was angry. You think this ends with her escape? He growled. That alien brat has a bounty on his bloodline. He's worth more than your life ever was. Aaron's body tensed. What did you say? The hunter stepped forward, raising his plasma blade. That child isn't just a slave's offspring. He's royal blood, half noble. That's why she was hidden. That's why they want him back. Aaron's eyes widened. He hadn't known. Soraya's son was born of royalty. No wonder they wouldn't stop hunting. He clenched his jaw. Then, he deserves a chance, Aaron charged. The blade sliced through the air. Aaron ducked, slammed his shoulder into the hunter's gut, knocking him back. But the man was fast, too fast. He recovered, grabbed Aaron by the collar, and smashed him into the wall. Give me her location. Blood dripped from Aaron's mouth. Go to hell. The hunter raised the blade, aimed for Aaron's neck. Butt thunk. Blast rang out from the doorway. The hunter staggered. His armor sparked. A second shot hit him in the chest. He dropped. Behind him, 3 station guards stepped in. Helmets on, weapons drawn. "We got your signal," one of them said. "Stand down." Aaron coughed, sliding to the ground. "Took you long enough." The lead guard helped him up. "Who are they after?" Aaron looked at the hunters unconscious. Body, a mother, and her child. "Criminals?" Aaron shook his head. "Slaves," he said quietly, "but not anymore." The guards exchanged glances. One of them radioed in, requesting medical. Aaron pushed his body up. "No time for that." One of the hunters escaped. "The girl is still in the walls. She needs protection. You know where she's headed?" Aaron nodded. "There's an old smuggler exit under level 12. It hasn't been used in years, but if she remembers my directions." "She'll go there." The guard hesitated. "You're injured. You should stay." Aaron looked up, eyes burning. "With pain and resolve, she's carrying a future they want to erase," he said, "and I won't let that happen." Far below the station, Soraya reached a sealed hatch. Just as Aaron had described, old, rusted, but still working. She pressed. The code he gave her. Nothing again. Still nothing. Her hands trembled. Cale whimpered. She turned to go. A shadow moved behind her. She froze. Then she heard it. Metal claws dragging across the wall. A fourth hunter, the unknown one. He had followed the backup trail, and now he was blocking her way out. Asterisk, the tunnel was. Quiet, too quiet. Soraya stood frozen near the rusted hatch. Cale pressed tight against her chest. She didn't dare move. Every sound felt louder than thunder. She could hear the soft drag of claws against metal. Sharp, slow, purposeful. Then a voice, like cracked glass. "I smell the child." She spun around, back pressed to the wall. From the darkness, the final bounty hunter stepped forward. He wasn't like the others. No armor. Just black robes, strange symbols etched across his body, glowing faintly under his skin. His eyes weren't eyes at all, too deep, red lights staring straight at her. He wasn't a hunter. He was a purifier. They sent a purifier for Cale. "No one will remember your name," he said calmly. "No one will mourn you." Soraya swallowed hard. "He's just a baby." The purifier tilted his head. "He's a threat. That blood in his veins? It could unite warring systems. That's why your own family sold you. You were dangerous before you even gave birth." She backed up slowly, one hand feeling for the hatch controls. "I didn't ask for this. That's why you'll both die quietly." The purifier raised a glowing hand, clanged the hatch behind. Her slid open, and a blast of cold air swept in. Soraya ducked just as a stun charge flew over her head, slamming into the purifier's shoulder. Sparks burst from his robes. He turned, hissing. Aaron stepped through the hatch, blood on his face, jacket torn, but eyes fierce. "I don't remember inviting you to this family reunion," he growled. The purifier turned his hand toward Aaron, but Aaron was faster this time. He tossed a disruptor spike into the wall. It exploded with light, short-circuiting every light in the tunnel. Darkness. Soraya clutched Cale and dropped to the floor. Screams, struggling, the sound of fists, metal and fire. Then silence. For a long moment, she didn't move. Then she felt a hand on her shoulder. "Hey," Aaron whispered. "It's over. It's not getting up again." She looked up. The purifier lay in the corner, unconscious. His circuits fried and symbols dimmed. Aaron slumped beside her, exhausted. "Next time, remind me not to run into fights half dead." She laughed through tears. "There won't be a next time. We're leaving." He nodded. "Then we better move. This exit still leads to the old docking wing." Soraya turned to the hatch panel. "Won't they chase us?" "They can try," Aaron said, pressing a card into the hatch reader. "Not. This time, the law's on our side." The door opened into an abandoned hangar, bedusty, dim, and lined with old civilian shuttles. Most were broken, unused for years, but one still blinked green. "Unit 16B," Aaron said. "Old smuggling vessel. Fast, ugly, but it flies." He helped her inside. She placed Cale into the seat and strapped him in. The boy was quiet now, watching the stars through the dirty window. Then came the sound of boots again. The bounty hunters hadn't given up. They stormed into the bay, weapons raised. But this time station security arrived behind them, led by Commander Ilya, a stern-faced human woman in gray. "Hold your fire," she ordered. "Everyone stand down." The lead bounty hunter growled. "That child is a Class 3 threat. We have legal rights to seize him." Commander Ilya stepped forward. "Under whose law?" "The Treaty of Royal Blood Council, Code 997, Section C." Ilya held up her datapad. That law was overridden by the Terran Alioth Concord, 37 cycles ago. She looked at Aaron and nodded. "He filed guardianship 5 minutes ago. Full humanitarian custody." The bounty hunter's face twisted. "You can't be serious. She's a runaway." "He's human, Commander." Ilya raised an eyebrow. "Exactly. Humans don't abandon their own." Soraya stepped out of the shuttle, holding Kale. Her face was bruised. Her body was shaking, but her voice was strong. "You said no one would mourn me," she said, looking at the hunter. "You were wrong." Aaron stepped beside her. "We don't bow to broken laws anymore." The guards moved in, surrounding the hunters. One by one, they dropped their weapons, outnumbered, outmatched, outlawed. As they were dragged away, the purifier's eyes opened just for a second. He looked at Kalen, smiled. "You think this changes anything?" he whispered. "That child's bloodline will draw fire from across the stars. You saved him, ... for now. But you can't hide forever." Aaron stared back coldly. "Watch us try." As the shuttle lifted off, breaking through the haze of the station's outer ring, Soraya held Kale close. Her hand found Aaron's. For once, there was no fear in her grip, only trust. The stars stretched wide outside the ship's window, endless and peaceful. Soraya sat on the floor of the small shuttle cabin, Kale asleep in her arms. His chest rose and fell in quiet rhythm, no longer shaking, no longer starving. His skin glowed softly under the shuttle light, his little fingers curled in comfort. He was safe. For the first time in her life, she felt safe too. Aaron sat across from her, patching a burn on his arm. He worked quietly, focused, as if pain was just a background noise now. Soraya watched him, unsure what to say. What could she say? He had fought for her, bled for her, risked everything for a woman and child he didn't even know. She lowered her voice. "You still haven't asked why I was sold?" Aaron didn't look up. "I don't need to." "You." He paused. She took a breath. "I was engaged to a noble prince. It was arranged. I was young and stupid, and fell in love with someone else. He wasn't powerful, just kind." Her voice shook. "When I got pregnant, they didn't punish him, they punished me. They said I shamed the bloodline. So they erased me, tore my name out of the records, branded me, sold me." Aaron's hands stopped moving. "They said Kale would be killed at birth, but a guard helped me escape. He died doing it. I've been running ever since." Silence filled the cabin, then Aaron spoke. "They tried to make you invisible," he said, "but they forgot something." But he looked her in the eyes. "Stars don't go dark. Even behind clouds, they shine." Soraya blinked. Her throat tightened. Kale stirred and opened his eyes. He looked at Aaron. The man smiled softly and reached out a hand. Kale didn't flinch. He reached back, touching Aaron's fingers. In that quiet moment, a bond formed, not of blood, but of choice. A few hours later, the shuttle docked at a small outpost on the edge of neutral space. It wasn't big, just a few metal shelters, solar, towers and greenhouses, but it was free. No flags, no hunters. No kings. Aaron led them inside a white building near the center. A local human family greeted them, smiling warmly. Aaron introduced them. "This is Mila and John. They run this outpost, old friends." Mila smiled at Soraya. "You're safe here. You're taking anyone the galaxy throws away." John knelt beside Kale and this little one. Soraya looked at her son. For the first time, said his name out loud. Kale. It means first light. John smiled. Strong name for a bright start. Aaron filled out a data form while Soraya stood silently. She felt out of place. She had never been anywhere like this. She watched Aaron carefully write something into the records. Her eyes widened. You're registering him? Aaron nodded. Birth record, civilian ID, full. Rights. He turned the tablet to her. It read, name, Kale status, legally protected minor guardian Soraya mother. Aaron Tolan, guardian of record, she stared. You added yourself? Aaron shrugged. He needs someone official to sign things. Schools, medical passes. You're still undocumented, and I've got papers that work in neutral zones. But we're not. Her voice trailed off. Aaron looked at her gently. You don't owe me anything. This isn't a trade. But if you'll have me, I'd like to stay. Soraya didn't speak. She stepped forward, still holding Kale. And then slowly she placed her free hand into Aaron's. Yes, she whispered. We want you to stay. That night, in a small room with clean sheets and working lights, Soraya watched Kale sleep peacefully under a blanket for the first time in his life. No noise, no hunger, no fear. She sat by the window, staring at the stars. Aaron walked in, holding 2 steaming cups. Tea, he said. Not great, but it's warm. She smiled and took one. Warm is enough. He sat beside her. She looked at him. He said something once. The humans don't abandon their own. I meant it, he replied. But we're not human. He took a slow sip. Maybe not, but humanity isn't just blood. It's action. It's who you choose to stand beside. That's what matters. She looked back at the stars, then at him. You gave me back more than food, she said. Gave me a name again. He turned to her. Then what name do you want? She thought for a long moment. Finally, she whispered, Sedia Tolan. Aaron froze. Then slowly he smiled. Outside, the stars were no longer cold.